Hey everyone, we're gonna do fractions, decimals, and percents today, and how to kind of change and switch between the three of them. So here is some vocab that I want you to write down. So we have repeating decimals, and those are decimals that have one or more digits that repeat forever. So like here, my first example is 0.3333333, and then we write that as like point 0.3 with a bar over the digit that's repeating, right? So here we have the second example is 4.245245245, right? That goes on forever. I should probably have dots like dot 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 like that. And so we write a bar over the digits that keep repeating, and in the second example, the digits that repeat are 245, right? So we have a bar over the 0.245 part. Next, we have terminating decimals, which are basically just the opposite of repeating decimals. Terminating decimals are decimals that can be expressed as a finite number of figures. So, like the examples are 0 0.2, 4.568, and 3.2185, right? None of those are repeating. There's no bar over any of the numbers. They just kind of stop right there where the decimal ends, right? So we say it's a terminating decimal. And lastly, a percent is just a ratio that compares a number to 100. So like the example of 21% is literally just 21 over 100. Every time you hear percent, you want to think of 100. Like in fact, right, 100 is where the percent sign comes from, right? Do you see that it's like a 1 and a 0, 0 split up, right? So it just means part of 100. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is learn how to go from percents to fractions, okay? So here are the steps. There are two of them. First step is write the value of the percent in the numerator and write 100 in the denominator, okay? Second step is simplify the fraction, right? So step one, we create the fraction, and step two, we simplify, right? Very, very simple. So look at 25%, example number one. And step one says write the value of the percent in the numerator. So 25 in the numerator, right? And then it says write 100 in the denominator. So 100 in the denominator, there we go, right? So there's our fraction. And then it says to simplify it, okay? So I can see that both the top and the bottom can be divided by 25. So 25 divided by 25 is 1. 100 divided by 25 is 4. And there it is. That's our simplified fraction. Example 2 is 88%. So we're going to follow the same steps. Write the value of the percent in the numerator and 100 in the denominator. Same deal. Cool. And then I notice here, right, they're both even numbers, so 2 can come out of the top and the bottom. But I notice that another 2 can come out. In other words, we can divide the top and bottom by 4. So divide by 4 here, divide by 4 here. 88 divided by 4 is 22, and then 100 divided by 4 is 25. And those are the simplified fractions and how to go from percents to fractions. Alrighty, so now you're going to try two quick examples like this. Okay, so the second thing we're going to learn how to do is how to go from fractions to decimals. So this has just one step, and it's just divide the numerator by the denominator. And we already know how to do long division, right? So whenever we see a fraction, we just have to remember that fractions are also a different way to represent division. So look at number 1 in the examples and see how the fraction is 3 over 4. That's also saying 3 divided by 4. And so in the long division bracket, it's 3 divided by 4, right? So we ask ourselves, how many times does 4 go into 3? And it doesn't, right? 4 is bigger than 3. But we can add a decimal and a 0 to the 3, okay? Right, that's still 3, right? 3.0 is the same thing as 3. Um, then we ask ourselves, how many times does 4 go into 30? And it goes in 7 times, right? Because 7 times 4 is 28. And then we subtract and ignore the decimal for now, okay? 30 minus 28 is 2. And we can add another 0, right? Because 3.00 is the same thing as 3.0, which is still the same as 3. We bring this 0 down, and then we ask ourselves how many times does 4 go into 20? And that's 5 times, right? 5 times 4 is 20. And now we don't have a remainder anymore, and we can just bring that decimal point straight up. So 3/4, the fraction, as a decimal is 0.75. We do the exact same thing for number 2. 31 over 50 is 31 divided by 50. How many times does 50 go into 31? It doesn't. Um, so we add a decimal and a 0. And then we ask ourselves, how many times does 50 go into 310? Um, 50 times 6, right, is 300. So we know it goes in 6 times. So 6 times 50 is 300. We subtract 310 minus 300 is 10. And just like how we did with the 3, we add another 0, bring it down. And then how many times does 50 go into 100? Just twice. So 50 times 2 is 100. Subtract, and we're done. And we bring the decimal point straight up. And so we say that 31 over 50 as a decimal is 0.62. And then you guys are going to try 2 quick examples, and that'll be it.